That's your notebook, your Spanish notebook.
Yeah, I was actually just trying to make sense of my handwriting. These are notes from a meeting that I was like trying to not let people see that I was making notes, like because most people make notes on a computer now, and like a lot of the people that I work with are younger. So I was making like notes over here, and my handwriting's just bad. I was just trying to figure out like if I should switch pages for my Spanish notebook, but I probably need to get a separate notebook.
Yeah, but it's good to have a notebook and write your notes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start to then, like, if there's some phrases, like tell me some phrases that you want to say in Spanish, but you're like now you're not able to say.
I don't think I have a great understanding of like do, doi, like when to use those correctly, for sure. Also, like lay and low is kind of ambiguous for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the abrias, aber. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so, but like I don't know that no estoy seguro que estoy falta como unas frases en específico, es más como conceptos grandes que es tan importante por mi soñar más fluido o más fluido.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's start with that. I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
Um, okay, so let's start with dar. Okay, so
Oh, también has hizo hiciste I kind of understand, but like those things as well. It's just like the more probably like everything level two or B2
uh-huh.
because all literally like all of the Spanish I've learned by listening.
Mm-hmm.
By listening and trying to speak and not caring if I sounded ridiculous. So like that's how I've gotten to where I'm at now. Plus like 12 classes with John,
Mm-hmm.
which was like a teacher that Thomas had previously. But like that's it. So I have not read a lot of Spanish. Um, and I use the translator when I'm writing in Spanish. So like the only Spanish that it's all like I've learned by listening. So like when I see it spelled or when I see it written, I can read it and I generally know what it means.
Mm-hmm.
But like when I go to write, like I know that I'm not writing correctly, and my written Spanish is worse than my spoken Spanish, which is also not amazing. So but my comprehension, like anything that you tell me in Spanish, like 95% of it, unless you're using some obscure words that I've never heard before, like I'll
Mm-hmm.
understand and then I'll be able to piece it together with context clues.
Okay.
So that's like where I'm at.
Okay, when we want to learn Spanish, cuando queremos aprender español, lo primero, pues, es el verbo ser y el verbo estar. En esos verbos, ¿cómo te sientes? En el
Okay.
manejo de esos verbos. How do you feel about the manage about these verbs?
Um, I I use like Seria
Mm-hmm.
a lot, and Astaria a lot. Like it would be like it would be better.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% sure that I understand the difference between when I would use Seria or Estaria.
Okay. When what you say is true. Like sería, estaría is will be, right?
Yeah.
And when you're talking about like in the present, like I am, you are, and things like that, this is the conjugation. Like for ser, soy, eh, eres. Did you know that? Eres.
I did not know that. No.
Okay. So for ser, we have yo soy, so that's I am, right?
Yes. Yeah, I just took a screenshot.
Mm-hmm. Tú eres, you are, so you, informal, are, right?
Yep.
For is él, ella, usted. So él, he, ella, she, usted, you, formal, es. Nosotros somos, we are, and finally ellos, ellas, ustedes son. This one,
Okay.
you in plural, right? When
Yep.
you're talking to many people. And ellos, ellas, they, right? And for estar,
Esto es también vosotros, ¿no?
yeah, also vosotros,
But like in Spain.
but we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just clarifying because it showed up on the test or whatever.
Mhm.
If I have to take a test
Uh-huh.
again. Okay.
So yeah, estar, we have instead of this, like the translation is little the verb to be, like for both of these. And we're
Okay.
going to talk about the difference later. But this is like I am to, yo estoy, tú estás. I guess you have heard about some of this before.
Estar, yo estoy, tú estás. Yeah.
Ujú. Él, ella, usted está, nosotros estamos, and ellos, ellas, ustedes están.
Okay.
Okay, and the difference between these two in general is like this one said is about permanent things,
About what?
permanent thing,
Okay.
mhm, and estar not permanent. I guess I have here. Give me 1 minute. Guess I have here the difference. The different, yes, here. I'm going to send it to you. The different uses for ser y estar. So, yeah, here. So, for example, if we want to describe something, eh, if the quality of that thing, no, the quality, no, the adjective that we're going to use to describe that thing is something permanent, we're going to use the verb ser. So, for example, la mesa es ovalada.
¿Cómo?
Eh, you're watching here.
¿Cómo?
La
I
mesa.
just I can't hear you well.
Ay,
Oh, oh.
okay, maybe here. La mesa es
Okay.
ovalada. Here.
Okay. That's an oval table. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yes. And it's something permanent, like it's something mm, essential about the table, so it's is. But
Okay.
if instead of that, I'm saying that the table is dirty,
As también tiene relation de ser.
es, eh, as you see here, is when I'm talking about él, ella, usted, es. And it's the verb ser.
But you're using it with la mesa.
Mm-hmm.
Is that in the same way that people and is that in the same way that people are like interchangeably referring to items as her? like ella.
Uh-huh. Yes.
You're ellas
Mm-hmm.
¿Dónde están no sé, los dulces? Ellas están encima de la mesa.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
People say that. Is that correct, or is that just like
Yes, that's correct. And because when I'm talking about objects, if I'm saying just one, I can think about the object as
ah? Okay,
and if I'm talking about more than one, I can think about the objects as ellos, ellas.
okay.
So,
Depending if depending if the object is so. I don't know if dulce is feminine in my example. Is dulce feminine, or would you say ellas? Okay,
lim-
so what I'm trying to figure out is what is I just woke up. What is the word? Okay, ¿dónde son las mesas?
las mesas.
Las ellas están
Mm-hmm.
like, and then if it was not comida,
Yes,
like,
you can
but
say.
if it was a masculine word, then you would say ellos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, but like that's correct. But most of the time, when we talk, we don't say like the this noun, like the noun. Like for example, if you want to say I am happy, you don't say yo, bueno, estoy.
Wouldn't you say estoy feliz?
Ajá. Yes, just soy feliz. Mm,
Soy or estoy?
it depends. If
Okay.
you're like in your essence, like you're usually a happy person, you can say soy. But if you want to say I'm happy, like
In
because
this
of this
moment.
moment, it would be estoy feliz.
Okay.
And I'm not saying yo estoy feliz. I just say estoy feliz. So when they ask you for the tables, like ¿dónde están las mesas? You can just say están allí.
And
Mhm.
yeah. Okay.
So just están, right? So yeah, every time we talk about an object, we use like we see that word
Well,
as
okay. Then why why do people say like yo me and cargo?
yo me tardo.
Yo me and cargo,
Ah,
or I will say I'll take care of it, but like why is it yo and me? Like that's also been throwing me off. I know that
ah,
that's off topic, but
mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, it's a whole different thing.
a whole different thing. We can also save it, but like I'm just curious.
Mm-hmm. Okay, porque we have like reflexive verbs. It's called reflexive.
Is this like level B3? I hope.
No, it's just to reflexive verbs to make sense here, like what is happening here. So the verb here is not just encargar here. It's not just encargar, it's encargarse. And when it's with like the word ends with se and not just an r, it's called
Okay.
reflexive verb, right? Just like definitions, right? But what is happening because this is the verb encargarse, I I don't have like I just can't say yo encargo because this will be encargar and I'm not saying that because encargar and encargarse is different. If you say
Okay.
encargar, it's because you're putting the responsibility in someone else, right? But here encargarse is reflexive. That means most of the time that I'm doing the action and I'm also like receiving the action, right? So here I'm like putting the responsibility on myself. That's why I'm using here me. If you want to say that you're putting the responsibility uh, on the person you're talking to, like you, right? It would be te encargo.
But Tami and Yo, Te and Karga, I'm putting you in charge of this.
Yes, I'm putting the charge on you.
Okay.
And if you want to say you're putting the responsibility on someone else as él, ella, usted, it would be le,
Okay.
because le is for these three. Um, here would for nosotros, if you want to say I'm putting the responsibility on us, would be nos encargo. And finally, if you want to put the responsibility on ellos, ellas, ustedes, sería les.
Saria because it's permanent, right? Because it will always be Lays.
Ajá, yes, les.
Okay. Yo Lays and Cargo. It's a very interesting way to communicate. Like Spanish is, but all right, I'm understanding that concept. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so here, um, again, when you talk about where are you from, of course,
Okay.
that's something permanent, so you're going to use the verb ser. So, for example, I am from United States, it would be soy de Estados Unidos.
¿Dónde is Andalusia? What country is that?
Andalusia is from Spain.
See?
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't? Is it a city?
Yes, I think.
Oh,
No, but I don't know if it's yes, it's a city. Yeah. Wait, I'm going to search because
I already did. It's a autonomous community of Spain.
yes, yes.
Interesting. I never knew that. Okay. Learning all kinds of things. Um,
Yes, soy de Andalucía, for example. And also, you're going to use the verb ser when you talk about the when you talk about events, like for example, a party or a concert, uh, something like that. You're going to use the verb ser, right? For example, here, ¿dónde es la fiesta? ¿Dónde es la fiesta? Es. La fiesta es en el salón de actos. Yeah, whatever. But when you talk about the location of an event, you use ser. So es.
okay.
But in general, when you talk about locations, right? For example, I am in the park or something like that. You say estoy en el parque. If you, I am in Andalucía, estoy en Andalucía. Because in
Okay.
that moment you're there.
Okay.
Okay. And then we have more of the difference. For example, time. I guess you have noticed that. But when you talk about time, days, um, if it's early, es muy temprano todavía. It's
So wait. So and put a you can N can be a star or Sayer.
but most of the time with n is estar. Like you can see this one as an exception. The exception is
Okay.
that you're talking about an event,
Okay.
but in general, you use estar. But in the case you're talking about uh, where it's going to happen, a concert, a party, or something like that, you're going to use ser.
So I'm pretty sure English isn't this hard, but it's okay. All right. Um,
Yeah, I know it may be kind of.
well, so it just feels like in Spanish that like English there is more definite in certain ways. Maybe that's just because like I grew up learning it, but like in Spanish it'll be like, okay, so this is always this way except in this one odd specific case, and like this is what you need to learn today. But all right.
But I think it's going to be like easier. Like you're going to notice the the difference now that you're like conscious about that, about the
No, I'm 100% confident that we'll get there. But so I'm not worried. I'm just saying like there are like obscure outlying cases like when you use things differently, and maybe it is that way in English too. Like I'm not an English teacher, so okay.
yeah.
But
So because it's good that your girlfriend is talking to you in Spanish all
so,
the time, because
yeah,
you're going to hear that and then see like, okay.
yes, no, it helps dramatically. Like when we started living together, maybe like 7 months ago, my Spanish just like skyrocketed for my ability to understand. So
Yeah. So time. I guess maybe you have heard that, for example, today is
wait
jueves. So
a
hoy es jueves.
minute.
For example, if you talk about your birthday, mi cumpleaños es, and then you say the birthday, el 6 de enero, for example. And yeah, when you talk about days or being early, temprano, early, um, you use ser. And when you talk about the seasons, era invierno. Era is the past of the verb ser.
Okay. When to use era and fue.
Ah, okay.
I use fue like too much because I just like yeah.
Yes. So I don't think we going to talk about that.
Just make it. Just make a note or whatever is fine. We
Yes.
don't have to like. The way my brain works is like I'm super ADD, which really works for me like doing sales. But like for things like this, it's not like the most productive way to get through a lesson. So if I try and jump you off track, just you're doing perfectly. Just make a note, and then we'll come back to it a different day because otherwise I'll forget. So okay, thank you.
Yes, but like a little thing is because, yeah, as you notice, there's like two kinds of past in Spanish
Yes.
in general, right? So one is to talk about things that happened in the past once and it's already done. And that
Okay.
one is for fue. Ay,
Yeah.
fue.
Yo fue en un centro comercial ayer, ¿ya?
No.
No.
Fue,
Yo era?
no, that one that you said is fui.
Fui. Okay.
Fui. Fui is the verb ir, to
Oh,
go.
gracias.
So I went to the mall. So yo fui al centro comercial.
Yo fui.
Yo fui.
Fui. Oh, because fui is related to ear?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
But fue is like él, ella, usted, eh, and the verb to be. So
Me,
like
oh,
was.
more. Salt, porfa. Gracias. Okay. We woke up late today. I usually wake up at like 6 every day, and we slept till like 7:45. So, uh,
So yeah, fue is the
gracias.
verb to be, and
Okay.
fui is the verb to go, and is yo. But
Okay.
fue to go, and It's the
Will
same.
you share will you share these notes with me?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yo fui, yeah, with fui is yo.
But
And
también puedes decir fuimos, ¿no?
fuimos, ajá, that one would be we.
Okay.
Fuimos. It's the verb ir and the verb ser. But here, okay, it's because I don't want you to get confused because it's the same. And the verb ir and that kind of past, that one is the same. Yo fui, it can mean yo era, like I was, or I went.
Okay.
Or él fue, it can mean he went or he was. It can be mean both. It depends of the context.
Okay.
Right. But if we think just about this difference, about the verb to be, not thinking this, not thinking about the verb ir,
Okay.
just said, just said. This one is for the things that happened in the past just once. Like for example, and it's already done. If you say, for example, he was a doctor, but you're talking like it was really many years ago and he's not a doctor now and it was just like a really short time of time. So él fue doctor. And if you
Okay.
say that, I'm thinking like the information I received is that he was a doctor for a short time.
But no longer is anymore. So like él fue un doctor, pero ellos sacaron su licencia, algo así.
Mm,
Quitaron.
le quitaron, ujú.
Like,
Le
so yeah,
quitaron.
I'm also missing like le quitaron. So I'm also missing the connecting pieces.
Yeah,
But yeah.
le quitaron because
Okay.
it's to him. Le quitaron el permiso. And era is the kind of past that I'm referring to an action in the past, of course, but it happened to a long time. It happened through a long time, right? So, for example, in
Past and continuing.
what?
Past and continuing. So like
No, it's different
okay.
because if you want to the past continuous, it would be like, for example, estaba caminando.
Okay.
It's more like compuesto with two verbs. Está compuesto por dos verbos. Pero aquí solo es un verbo. Un verbo
Okay.
y ya estoy haciendo referencia a, como por ejemplo, I use it when I'm doing a description, right? So, how was that day, for example? For example, I can say era un día lluvioso, right? Because it's in the past, but being a rainy day was through the whole day.
Okay.
So, era un día lluvioso. And being, like, for example, the same phrase, he was a doctor, but instead of fue, I'm using era. Él era un doctor. In that case, it's because being a doctor for him it was through many years, not just
Okay.
like once he was a doctor. But yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
Um, okay, and if you want to use the verb estar for time, you can see like we are in the day or the year or the time of the year. So we are in, and that's when you can use estamos en the year, estamos en 2023, estamos. em, a primero de enero, estamos, yeah, but it's not very common to say that.
Okay.
But in the case you,
I've never heard that way.
uh-huh, yes.
Estamos a. Okay.
Now, for asking like the price, you can use both. Um, if you say you say cuánto es porque tú estás comprando, right? Many things. Or you're in a restaurant and you eat, right? And then you're going to pay, so you say cuánto es. Or
Or
you're in a
cuánto ser, también puedes decir cuánto sería.
cuánto sería. Mhm. Yeah, also. Or cuánto es. Like it means
But
that
también is there, so it's like the same thing.
yes. Cuánto es, cuánto
How
sería.
much? How much is that? How much would it be?
Yes,
Yep.
exactly. So at the end of the shopping, you can say that. And if you want to ask the price of a specific thing, you can use ser or estar. The difference is
So,
if you use como, it would be con ser. En cuanto, it would be with estar. So, ¿a cuánto están los tomates? Right. If you ask for just one thing, it would be ¿a cuánto está in the thing? The same here. ¿A cómo, for example, ¿a cómo son las peras? Right, because you're
what
talking
are
about
what are peras?
peras is pear,
Is what?
the
Pear. Ah, okay.
pear.
Pear.
So you can ask, ¿a cómo son las peras? Son las peras porque es en plural, pero puedes decir también a cómo es el kilo de peras. So then you're talking about el kilo, like un kilo, one thing. And
Yeah.
then you can use es, right? And the same here. ¿A cuánto están los tomates? Or ¿a cuánto está el kilo de tomates?
So is more than just two. Like I'm also confused on the way that people are using like when you say a mí or when to say a mí or a él, or a mí también, cosas like
Mm-hmm.
I would never think I would never think to say like to how are the pairs to
Mm-hmm.
ask a price, but I know you can't translate word for word. So
Yes. Yeah, that's the case. Like in general, a is two. Like, yeah. But in this case, to ask the price, like the whole sentence is in that way just because.
okay,
With it's not like a translation for that. When you translate that, like the it's going to disappear, right?
yeah,
But you have to ask with the because if you just say cómo son las peras, if you say that, cómo
you're
son,
asking like how are the pairs?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
En cuánto están las peras, it sounds just weird. ¿Cuánto están las peras? It doesn't mean like anything. Like how much? No, it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
So, ¿cuánto están los tomates? No. ¿A cuánto? And then would you say a price? And when you talk about the hour, you use es or son, right? The difference is when you ask for the hour, it's always going to be qué hora es, right?
Okay.
And when you answer, maybe you noticed that already, you can say es la una if you're talking about 1 o'clock, or son las, and then the other hours, two, three, four, all of those.
Okay.
Mm, okay, temperature. You say like we are in, and then the we are at. Oh, yeah. Estamos a, and then the temperature. Está.
Okay.
When you say that something belongs to someone, you use ser. Ese libro es de Juan.
Okay.
And for the same reason, when you talk about any relation, like you can say my friend. So it would be like she's my friend. Ella es mi amiga. Eh, in all of those, like friend, girlfriend, boyfriend, mom, daughter, all of those, you use es.
Okay.
When you talk, like maybe this one is a little bit confusing, but no, but don't get confused.
Okay.
Most of the time, in general, like this is the common thing. When you talk about professions, occupation in general, you use ser, right? So he is a doctor, for example. Él es doctor.
Okay.
And most of the time, ser, right? Soy profesor de inglés. I am a English teacher and things like that. But if you want to say that what you're doing right now is something temporarily, and it's not something that you want to be in general, like it's something like you're going to do that for a time, but then you're going to move on, right? So you're going to use the verb estar and the word de.
Okay.
So, for example, estoy de estudiante. It would be like I am a student, right? But just for the moment. Like it's
Okay.
something that I'm not going to do in general.
Okay.
And then we have material, like ese reloj es de oro.
Okay.
So that watch is made of gold. Give me 1 second because this one is going to die. The
Okay.
computer. Okay. And when you talk about religión, ideología, clase social, también vas a usar ser. Religion, ideology, and social class. Yeah. And that's in general. Okay. So, what do you think if we do like some exercises if you really understand the difference? Okay.
Okay.
Um, mm, this one. Okay. So, for example, all of this, the translation is to be Spanish, to be working, to be a football player, and things like that. To be right, but
Okay.
you're going to tell me if it's ser or estar. If it's ser español or estar español.
Okay. Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Star.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
ser,
Mm-hmm.
estar, estar, ser. Uh, the only thing that's throwing me is that it's like I love Monday. So, but estar.
Estar,
Yeah, or no.
like what we say, like you can say we are in Monday. You can say like kind of that, and then you can say estamos a lunes.
But you
But
don't really say that. So it's more
here,
ser.
it's ser.
I was thinking that it's not a permanent day of the week is kind of what threw me. It's like not always
Uh-huh.
Monday.
Yeah,
Okay.
but when you're saying yes, you can think that, but remember that every time we talk about days, we use ser.
Oh, okay. A star.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one depends on like your communication in the relationship, because like if you're to say like you're always selfish or whatever, it's like not a good way to communicate. But like I think it could be either, because you could be saying like this person is always selfish, or like you are being selfish in this moment, right?
If you want to say you're being like
No, it's like eras ego, eras egotistica. So eras is como que.
uh-huh. Yes, but there's a difference between saying you're selfish, self, self, how do
Selfish, and you're being selfish
and you're
like in this
uh-huh,
moment.
and you're being selfish. You're being
I like just had this conversation with my girlfriend's daughter about like how to not always be like no estás siempre haciendo algo. It's not a good way to communicate,
uh-huh.
but like because people will get very defensive.
Yes,
But you're selfish and you're being selfish. But like if you're selfish, that would be that would be ser, and then you're being selfish would be a star. No,
it would be here. It would be is eres egoísta,
sí.
but this one would be estás siendo egoísta.
Siendo es como being.
Siendo is being. Mhm.
Okay.
And that's like, for example, here we also have that kind of word, trabajando, like working.
Okay.
So when we have like the ing in English, in Spanish, we have ndo.
Yeah.
So yeah, the verb is ser, so here is siendo.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the difference.
So what is the correct answer to this in this case, Sarah?
So it would be ser.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
because
the second way you explained it is not a star because it's like a temporary situation.
no, like you can say like estar egoísta. Because even here when you use estar, right, then you use the original verb for that. That is ser. Like this is the verb ser.
Siendo is Sarah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's being. Like it's not ser, it's the okay. So
But do you see what I mean? Like based on the way that you explained it to me, if you're saying that something is always permanent, it is Sarah, and if something is like temporary, it's a star. How it could be confusing.
like it's not both.
I understand that it's not, but based on that example, or based on that rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm seeing is in Spanish, like the los reglas cambios, están cambiando.
Mm-hmm. So
Okay,
in general, being selfish is something about your personality,
okay,
right? So it's ser is with the verb ser egoísta, right?
okay,
But we have when you're saying like when you want to say present continuous, you say estoy, for example, and then the action, for example, caminando,
okay.
right? You can also do that with something about your personality. Because you're going to turn that in something in the moment. You're going to turn being selfish in something about just the moment. And then you're going to see the fact that to be selfish in the action. Like here, siendo egoísta can be caminando. It's the same conjugation. Caminando and siendo have the same conjugation.
Okay.
So you turn, for example, in this case, you turned caminar into caminando. Caminando. Or for example, if you want to say, ella está comiendo, you turned comer into comiendo, right?
Okay.
Now, here you're going to turn ser, because here it's just caminar, right? Caminando, and you can say like more things, por el parque, whatever, right? So you're going to think here, this is the action, like
Okay.
it is. You're going to turn ser, being, into siendo, right?
Okay.
And then, like the complement of the sentence is egoísta.
Okay.
But what you're doing here with the change with the verbs is siendo,
Okay.
being. You turn ser into siendo.
Okay.
But it's the same verb. Like always, like selfish goes with ser. But in this case, I'm turning ser into siendo.
Okay.
But in essence, it's the same verb.
But would a person take it the same way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's different. Saying yourself is that you're being selfish.
Eres egotista y estás siendo egotista. Alguien va a entender como diferente, ¿no?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Gracias.
Okay. And and this is like the same. Um, let's skip this one because I think we don't say that in Colombia. I don't think.
Okay.
Okay.
The peso for walking?
Yeah, it's like I'm going to like being walking something like that. But yeah, it's that of course. But yeah.
Ser, no?
Mm-hmm.
Ser?
Mm-hmm.
Estar?
Mm-hmm.
Estar? Somos es como que. Ser, no?
Ser. Mm-hmm.
Um, ser, no?
Mm-hmm.
Estar?
Mm-hmm.
Estar?
Mm-hmm.
Estar? Ser?
Yes. Good.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to send you these notes.
Okay.
And okay, we're from here. So
Okay.
next class we're going to talk about that.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much. I think I see you next week. Yeah. Like next Monday or something or
Mhm.
Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just message me which day is with you. And then apparently I'm with a different teacher tomorrow. So
Okay,
I'll be
yeah.
back.
With me
Okay.
is Tuesday and Thursdays.
Okay.
Martes y jueves. Mhm.
Perfect. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep. Bye.